everybody, it's Mrs. Haugen. Hey, today we are going to read a little bit from our science book. I actually have the science book online, so that makes it really handy. So today's lesson is the first lesson in our new unit. So it is called, What is Everything Made of? So as we read through this today, there are going to be some words that we need to know. So those three words are down here in the blue box. They are classify, material, and property. So let's go ahead and get started. The first part says, look anywhere. You see many different things. What are things made of? You go to the park. You climb over a bridge made of wood. You go down a slide made of plastic. You play on tires made of rubber. Wood, plastic, and rubber are all materials. A material is what an object is made of. So if you notice at the top here, we had our first heading in the bright red, and that was materials, which completely makes sense because so far everything we've read has been about materials. The next paragraph says, a bicycle has a metal frame. It has rubber tires and a leather seat. It might have a plastic fender. It might have a mirror made of glass. The bicycle is made of many different materials. What is your backpack made of? It might be made of cloth. It might have a metal zipper. A window might have a wood frame and glass panes. A chair might have a cloth seat or wood or metal legs. Many objects are made of more than one material. One of the text features that we see here is this photograph, so of a little boy on a bicycle, and the caption says, this bicycle is made of more than one material. So let's scroll down here, and they have a little section where we can look at this playground, and the directions say select the appropriate term for each blank. So let's read the first sentence. A blank is what an object is made of. So if we look at the choices, a material, a metal, a bicycle, a wood, a glass, or a rubber. So if we think back to what we read, it said in the beginning that a material is what an object is made of. The next sentence says tires are made of blank. So again, if we look at all the choices first, we can look at the picture for some help here, and we know that tires are made of rubber. The last sentence says zippers are made of blank. So if we look at our choices, thinking about zippers, zippers are made of metal, not bicycle. That's just silly. So now I can check my answers, and we're correct. So we're going to continue to the next section. So this next heading, the very top is properties. So we see we have a bright red heading up at the top, which means everything we will read will be about properties. Have you ever used sandpaper? Sandpaper is made of sand glued on paper. One property of sandpaper is that it is rough. A property is a way of describing an object. I highlighted this right here because that's a really important thing to know. It tells us what a property is. A property is simply a way of describing an object. All objects have properties. A property of a rubber hose is that it bends. A property of a glass window is that you can see through it. A property of a plastic cup is that it will not break if you drop it. So they show us this photograph here of this little girl with a hose, and the caption tells us a property of a rubber hose is that it bends easily. So a property is a way of describing the object, and telling me that it bends easily is a property. Objects have many different properties. A rock may be gray, hard, and rough. A metal pan may be hard, smooth, and shiny. A sponge is soft and bendable. You can soak up water with a sponge. So here we have a little photograph of a little kid holding a rock. I'm assuming that's a kid. The hand looks pretty small. And the caption says, this rock is gray, hard, and rough. So sometimes we're able to say that a object has many different properties, like this rock, for example. Objects made of the same material have some of the same properties. Bridges and sidewalks are made of concrete. They are strong and hard. Windows and drinking glasses are made of glass. They are breakable and you can see through them. So this explains to us that things that are made of the same material, like bridges, for example, are made of concrete. So they have these properties. Because they're both made of the same material, they're both strong and they're both hard. Windows and drinking glasses, they told us, were made of glass. So again, they have some of the same properties. They are both breakable and you can see through them. At the bottom it says, which two properties do these bricks have? So, are they flexible? No, bricks are not flexible. Are they soft? No, bricks are not soft. Are they hard? Yeah, bricks are hard. Are they red? Well, if I look at the picture, these bricks are red. And are they shiny? And these bricks are not shiny. So let's see if we're correct. We are. At the bottom, we see this little bunny rabbit. It says list properties of this object. So again, this object is going to have multiple properties. So, does it bend or is it shiny? Well, this object bends, right? Now we have hard and soft. Well, looking at this guy, he looks like a snuggly thing. So this object bends, is soft, and do you think he is smooth or fluffy? Well, I think because of the material that I see he's made of, that cloth looks not fluffily, fluffy. Period. Let's see. Here, list properties of this object. So these are marbles we have here. So are the marbles, do they bend or are they shiny? Well, let's say these objects are shiny. Next, they want to know, are they hard or soft? They're definitely hard. And smooth or fluffy? These objects are shiny. I don't want that word there. Hard and smooth. Period. So there are the properties of the marbles. Next section. At the top here, our third section that we're going to be reading today is about comparing properties. Okay, we know what it means to compare, to talk about how things are the same. So let's read. Scientists try to make sense of the world. They look closely at different objects and the materials they are made of. They classify objects by their properties. When they classify objects, they put them into groups so that all things in a group have the same property. So this word here, classify, the sentence right here gives us a really good understanding of what does it mean to classify objects. Well, this sentence says that it means you are putting things into groups so that all those things have the same property. Maybe they're all hard, maybe they're all soft, that kind of thing. A scientist might study objects to find out if they sink or float in water. Objects that sink would go in another group. Objects that float would go in one group. I read that backwards. Next, the scientists might look for ways that objects that float or sink are alike. Do all the heavy things sink? Why do some objects float? Scientists ask questions. They look for patterns. So here, I think I skipped something here. So this photograph looks like it is a fun little toy in the pool, and it says this ring floats in water. So that is one of the properties, that it floats. And then what we see here is this anchor, and it says, do all heavy things sink? So this is a question that a scientist might ask, because you can tell this is definitely on the bottom of the ocean. When you sort things into groups, you are acting like a scientist. You study each object. You look for ways objects are alike and different. you decide which group each object belongs in. So let's see if we can do that. Which two objects are hard? So we have A, B, C, and D. Well, this to me looks like it's made of a pretty hard material, so I'm going to put a little mark in that box. And I don't think this flower is very hard. And this cloud does not look hard either. So I'm going to go with B, the chimney. And we'll see. Correct. A playground and a chimney are hard objects. Flowers and oceans are not. So we could classify these objects into one group, and we could classify or sort these objects in another. Examine each object, then complete the chart below. So here we have a mirror, a fork, a sponge, a cloth bag, a cardboard box, and a key. So what they're wanting us to do is classify the objects by their properties. So they want us to say, okay, which of those objects are shiny and which of those objects are not shiny? So let's see here. We have a mirror. Would that be shiny or not shiny? Well, it's kind of a hard one. I have a feeling that mirror is not. Well, you know what? Let's put that here. Because right here, I can see a little reflection there, which makes me think it might be shiny. And the fork, I'm thinking the same thing. That fork, you might be able to see your reflection in that fork. I bet it's shiny. Now a sponge and a cloth bag and a cardboard box. I have never seen a sponge, a cloth bag, or a cardboard box that are shiny. The last one here we see is a key. And looking at that material versus this material, my guess is that key is shiny. All right. I believe we are down to the summary. So the last section we're going to read today is just a summary, just to kind of wrap up everything that we've read, kind of like a conclusion in our writing. So in bright red, we have the heading, which is Lesson Summary. Objects are made of different materials. They can be described and classified by their properties. Objects made of the same material have some of the same properties. So that's all that we're going to read through today in our lesson about what is everything made of. Talk to you soon.